So when we were filming the Darkness Falls pilot, which was actually the pilot that would later become the Ghost Prophecies, and we actually used that scenario, a fear test, for the Darkness Falls episode of Paranormal State. On that filming of that episode, Lorraine was flown in. And what was really interesting is that Joe Ansley had never met Lorraine. But like anybody who's an investigator, he grew up his whole life reading about her. He knew all the history of all the cases, and he's blown away. Like, Lorraine Warren is coming. Oh my God! Like, the grandmother of the paranormal. She's going to be showing up, and he's truly excited to see her. But Joe is also terrified of the West Virginia State Penitentiary. And he didn't want to do this kind of premise because they were fear tests. We were going to put ourselves through things and intentionally try to stress ourselves out and find out, where is our level of fear? How far can we go before we bail? Joe did not want to do this. He just did not want to do this. He was not comfortable with the West Virginia State Penitentiary. He said he felt all kinds of negative energy, especially back towards these cells that he was hanging out. He felt like there was satanic stuff there. There was all kinds of stuff that just freaked Joe out. And he was terrified. So when Lorraine was coming, it offered him kind of a mental escape because he could focus on the fact that he would soon be meeting the legend, Lorraine Warren. So Lorraine shows up, and she's never met Joe. She does not know him. And she comes around the door, and I've met her once before, and she starts telling me this story about how on the way to the West Virginia State Penitentiary, she saw 3 shadow people and what were 2 black shadow wolves just walking across the street. Now, I've never experienced this. I know shadow people exist. I've never filmed them out in the open walking around. It's very clear to me that I personally don't know what she's talking about. I've never experienced it. But again, Lorraine does not strike me in any capacity as a liar. So I just kind of take it for what it's worth. Lorraine's been doing this a hell of a long time, more than I have. Someone told me she had done over 3,000 cases or something like that. Crazy number. So I just take her for her word. And she's very sweet in her welcoming. And she asked me, where we're going to be filming most of today's episode. And she is not filming that day, or wasn't scheduled to. She was just coming down to check it out because she just arrived. So I take her down through this main door to where everybody's standing around, and Joe's there. And again, nobody has talked to her about Joe. She doesn't know Joe. Nothing. So I take it upon myself to introduce him. And she comes to the door, and I go, Lorraine, I go, this is my good friend. He's like my little bro, Joey. I just want to introduce you. And she looks at him and she goes, oh, honey, what are you doing here? And he goes, what? And she goes, this place is not for you, honey. Please don't do this. The fear that came over Joe's face was one of the funniest things I have ever seen. He was absolutely terrified. He just looked at me like, dude, see, I told you, man. I told you. Oh my God. So it just blew my mind because she had no idea he was terrified of the place. She had no idea that he didn't want to do, the premise that we had set up. She had no idea of anything. And somehow she just picked this out now. We went on to calm Joey down. And truth be told, we went really easy on Joe. We just knew that his fear level was not very far. The stuff we gave him to do was really easy. And we made sure, because of her warning, that we got him in and out pretty quickly. And we've never released this pilot, but if you saw it, Joey's barely in it for that reason. So, but that was an incredible moment. It was an incredible moment for me, and one of the first times where I was like, Lorraine's onto something. Lorraine, she's onto something.